I bring up Fortnite to say that Splatoon 3 didn't really need to exist. Splatoon 2 didn't either.
I swear to God, these videos manage to get worse and worse every single time. You know, I was really contemplating whether or not I actually wanted to make this video, but I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. The video we'll be watching is just that good. And for those who don't know, there was a time period before Splatoon 3 where a lot of people were saying, hey, this game looks exactly like Splatoon 2, which, to be fair, at the time was kind of a valid argument, but not really, mainly due to the fact that we just knew nothing about the game at the time. And of course, with the release of Splatoon 3, a lot of those arguments died down because people could finally see that these two games have a lot of differences. But apparently that's not good enough for some people, as I've seen a few videos still saying this game is exactly like Splatoon 2. And today, I have one of those for you. And the video in question is Splatoon 3 didn't need to exist. Someone DM'd me this video on Discord at like, what, 4 in the morning or something? So yeah, whoever did that, I appreciate you so much. Hashtag not sarcastic. Well guys, it's time to buckle up because this is gonna be one bumpy ride.
The predominant method of interaction in modern video games is shooting, primarily in the form of first and third person shooters. I'd say this is because controlling a 3D camera is pretty unintuitive and sucky, and merging the camera with the player's view is a really elegant solution that allows for extreme precision and more satisfying gameplay. Shooting in Splatoon is more than just busting the proverbial health bar. It is an ever-present movement consideration as it is the win condition for the primary game mode, Turf War. As I said earlier, controlling a camera is really annoying and hard to do well.
Okay, so I'd hate to be the guy who says this, but what you just described to me sounds like a skill issue. The camera is not a hard thing to learn how to use.
First-person shooters help mitigate this by combining the aiming and camera movement into one streamlined activity.
It's almost like we're doing the exact same thing, except in a third-person perspective.
But precision is still a lofty goal, especially when your controller of choice is, well, a controller. Many shooters implement aim assist and a whole rogues gallery of other methods in order to make the player feel as in control as possible. Splatoon just goes the sacrilegious route and de-emphasizes precision altogether.
These videos manage to do one thing incredibly well, and that is making an argument that has no reason to exist. Like, I still don't understand what this has to do with Splatoon 3's existence. I can't really argue anything here because the arguments themselves don't have any substance within. It's just there for the sake of being there. Please, just give me something useful to work with.
Splatoon doesn't want you to care about lining your crosshairs up for a perfect shot.
Again, this is just straight up not true. I'm gonna take a guess here what this guy is possibly getting at. What he might be doing is he's taking aspects from different shooters and criticizing Splatoon because it's not doing exactly what he wants, which in my eyes is completely stupid. If that's the case, I'm sorry Splatoon 3 isn't realistic military shooter number 9764. I really don't understand this whole culture of a game is bad if it does something I don't like. For example, I don't like Smash, but I don't make 20 videos about how the series is going downhill because it does something I don't like.
It wants you to just keep shooting until you hit something. Both have their merits, but one is a lot less common in gaming as a whole. The bedrock on which the house of Splatoon is built is the fact that your gun shoots ink instead of bullets. Once shot, your ink remains on the ground, and being the horrible little freak of nature you are, enables you to transform into your squid form and swim through it. Splatoon does away with sprinting in favor of this mechanic. You are also completely submerged, and if you're not moving, then you become effectively invisible. Ink is an option creator for everyone. If a player runs in alone and splatters a lot of ink before immediately dying, that ink makes the entire area more traversable for their team, and subsequently less so for their opponents. This is further supported by the wide variety of weapon options available to players. A few of the weapons mimic counterparts in more serious shooting games, but a lot of them seem to be more interested in catering to the different ways player may want to splatter ink on their foes and the arena. This is not to say that they're not without their redundancies, and some weapons are just worse than others, but that's not a big enough issue for me to dive into right now. The giant paint roller is not only fun to look at and play with, it is thematically on point, and then mechanically can only really work in Splatoon. I love the roller, and I wish Splatoon had more creative and silly weapons like it that feel unique to this specific experience. It's times like these when the inventiveness of the game feels held back to appealing to Splatoon's misguided aspirations.
Okay, so what do you mean by misguided aspirations? What do you want Splatoon to be achieving here? Also, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that there's no other unique weapons in Splatoon. Like, we got a freaking windshield wiper as a weapon in Splatoon, and I personally think it works well with the goofiness of the game. If you did more than 5 seconds worth of research, which obviously isn't the case, you'd know that there are a lot of thematically on point weapons. And I'd even go as far as to say it's a pretty hard thing to miss.
The primary goal of Splatoon is to create an approachable shooter experience for as wide an audience as possible. The design of Splatoon wants to be a weird, bustling metropolis of unique gameplay that carves out its own little unique niche among shooters, where the business model and philosophy around the game push it further and further until it settles into an unfortunate middle ground that becomes more beige with every entry. I use beige intentionally because Splatoon is cool. Or at least it does an excellent job visually telling you that it is. The emphasis of fashion, being able to go up to random people on the street and then order their outfits, the very relaxed upgrade system that's built into the clothing, all services the game's airtight aesthetic, and also does the brunt of its world building. Everywhere you turn in Splatoon, you are met with a unique and cohesive visual style that pulls together what I would call a late 90s, early 2000s definition of cool. It's gonna be made. That excellent visual design stretches its tentacles into all aspects of the game. It seamlessly brings the UI into the fray while maintaining simplicity and ease of use. I've never spent more than a few seconds looking for anything in the menu, and I can't think of a single instance of confusion or frustration. The graphic design, UI, and just general visual vibes are infused with so much fun and creativity. The entire art team should just take a big old bow. You did so good. I'm so proud of you guys. The issue is few games have had so many high-budget iterations in such a short time. These iterations could have been seen as opportunities to experiment with an already creatively rich idea, but instead the series hasn't seen any substantial growth since the original.
You guys understand why I wanted to talk about this? Like, come on, where am I supposed to start with this? This is a great example of what happens when an uninformed person tries to formulate an opinion on a subject they clearly know nothing about. This is what happens. It makes me sad, but it also makes me happy because the funny part is that this person wants me to take him seriously. Like, I'm starting to question whether or not this video is satire or not. Realistically, what do you want me to argue here? Like, the only thing I can honestly tell you is just sit down and do your research. That's all you had to do, but this person is so confident in the fact that they know what they're talking about, which is obviously not true. My God, this Splatoon series has not progressed. That's a new one, guys. That's a new one.
I think one way they could have easily mixed up the formula with some creativity was in the campaign mode, but it unfortunately serves as something closer to an elongated tutorial in a way for newer players to dip their toes in and try out different weapons and dive into the mechanics in a low-stakes environment. That doesn't excuse the level design in these stages, which is at best benign and inoffensive, kill these bad guys and walk to this spot, and at worst like frustratingly dull, save for a few small exceptions that are even more frustrating because they show everything the campaign mode could have been. There's this excellent stage where you get a permanent power-up that allows you to jump from platform to platform like Spider Squid, and maybe it had a heightened effect on me after all the monotony, but I would have loved to see more levels that push the game's controls and conventions to their limits in ways that couldn't be explored outside of that specific context. That's the kicker though. Splatoon 3 offers nothing fresh or new and seems afraid to.
I really don't know what to tell you guys. I just explained this too. Again, it's literally just game bad because I don't understand. Oh God, this crap is gonna kill me.
It's hard for me not to compare Splatoon to Fortnite.
Bro, just not talking is the only logical thing you can do right now.
With its desire to capture a young audience, to show everyone its perpetual youth and ineffable coolness, to capture as wide an audience as possible with streamlined mechanics. But this is where Fortnite totally outclasses Splatoon, where Splatoon is fixated on refining a proven mechanic. Fortnite is gleefully reinventing itself every few months with reckless abandon. That's not just the Goku and Darth Vader cosmetics, it's the constant flow of new toys, guns, vehicles, sharks. It does this through a business model that Splatoon seems to yearn for.
Yeah, because the next thing I want Nintendo to do is shove microtransactions down my throat. Like, would you guys be fine with paying, like, what, $5 for a T-Tech kit? $6 for Kenza weapons? Let me know down in the comments if any of you want microtransactions in Splatoon 3. Just let me know. I want to see how many of you want that. But in my eyes, the best part about this entire argument is that even if Splatoon went the route of Fortnite, I can guarantee you the same people who bug Nintendo to make it like Fortnite are gonna complain that Nintendo is ripping off Fortnite. There's no winning here, guys. There is no winning. You know, I really have to ask, does this apply to Smash as well? Does this also apply to Mario Kart? I really want to know if that logic also applies to those games, because it doesn't seem that way.
I bring up Fortnite to say that Splatoon 3 didn't really need to exist. Splatoon 2 didn't either. They're symptoms of a product-based release model that requires a new entry in the series every few years. Sure, we could parse fine hairs and discuss the minutiae of differences between the original Splatoon and Splatoon 3, but if we zoom out just a little bit, we'd see this is the third time Nintendo has turned in this assignment. It's hard to criticize a business model that is clearly working. Splatoon 3 is shaping up to be one of the Switch's biggest launches. I guess the question is, does the model promote longevity for the game? Will Splatoon 5, virtually unchanged from the original, still see these profits? Does it matter? In terms of the profit for Nintendo, probably not. They see record short-term sales, but the long-term grinding down of a franchise until it's just a sad husk of its former glory is all too common in games, film, and television. In a vacuum, I think Splatoon 3 is a well-executed, richly satisfying piece of design that has every right to be called fun. But in the cold, harsh winter that is reality, I think Nintendo had a brilliant idea 7 years ago that they are crushing under the weight of a business model the game isn't really built for.
Well, yeah, that's the end of that video. So to recap, it's basically Splatoon bad because it does something I don't like, and the way to fix it is to turn it into Fortnite. I saw this crap a mile away, but I still suffered for you guys because I care. And with all that diarrhea out of the way, this is the end of this video. I was working on an actual good video for this week, but I'll probably post it maybe next week, depends. I got a lot of college work. I get out on like December 11th, so of course my professors are saying, hey, we're gonna hammer you with work all November long, so have fun with that. I don't know if I'm gonna do any more of these commentary videos. It's really tiring just repeating the same thing for like 10 minutes straight. Well, unless you want to contact me at 4 in the morning on Twitter and Discord. I have those links in the description for you all. I would love to get to know each and every one of you because all of my subscribers are great people. Well, I hope you are at least. But yeah, see you guys next time.